Could one single road really connect the world? Could a piece of silk change the course of human civilization? And is that same ancient path shaping our future again right now? We humans have always been explorers, as driven by curiosity, trade, and connection. When the Chinese discovered how to spin silk from the cocoons of tiny worms, they didn't know those delicate threads would one day weave the world together. The story of the Silk Road begins there, among the mountains of ancient China, more than 2,000 years ago, in the 2nd century BCE. At that time, the Han Empire ruled the East with power and ambition. Emperor Wu wanted to connect with the mysterious lands to the west, not only for trade, but also for diplomacy and security. In 138 BCE, he sent a young envoy named Zhang Xian on a daring journey. Zhang crossed deserts, rivers, and snow-covered mountains until he reached the Fergana Valley in Central Asia. That expedition became the first spark of what we now call the Silk Road. Over the centuries, this road stretched more than 6,500 kilometers, from eastern China all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. Caravans of hundreds of camels carried silk, gold, ivory, glass, and spices across continents. But it wasn't just goods that traveled. It was ideas, beliefs, and cultures. Buddhism spread from India to China, while paper and gunpowder made their way westward. By the 9th century, more than 5,000 tons of goods moved along these land routes every year. An incredible number for that time. Yet the journey was brutal. The road passed through deadly deserts like the Taklamakan and icy peaks like the Pamirs. Sandstorms, bandits, and thirst claimed countless lives. But those who survived became legends. Cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, and Kashgar flourished, turning into centers of art, science, and wealth. By the 8th century, Samarkand alone had over 100 caravanserais, places where travelers traded, rested, and shared stories. Empires rose and fell, but the Silk Road kept breathing. Under the Abbasid Caliphate, Baghdad became a dazzling hub where Chinese silk was exchanged for Arabian gold and spices. But the story didn't end there. In the 15th century, powerful seafaring nations, Portugal, Spain, and later the Dutch and the British, changed the rules of global trade. Commerce moved from land to sea. That's when a new chapter began, the Maritime Silk Road. This sea route started from Guangzhou in southern China, crossed the Strait of Malacca and the Indian Ocean, reached India and Sri Lanka, and continued toward the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and finally the Mediterranean. Ships replaced camels and ports replaced desert cities. By the 14th century, Hangzhou was one of the busiest ports in the world, with more than 1,000 trading ships docking every single day. But soon, European fleets took control of the seas. Colonial powers like Portugal and Britain dominated global trade, and the ancient Silk Roads slowly faded into memory. Then came the age of railways and telegraphs. The world shrank, and the Silk Road became a legend of history books. But its spirit never disappeared. Every generation tried to rebuild those connections between East and West. And in the 21st century, China brought the dream back. Not with caravans, but with high-speed trains and giant cargo ships. In 2013, President Xi Jinping announced the Belt and Road Initiative, the modern Silk Road. Its goal to connect more than 60 countries across 3 continents through new land and sea routes. By 2024, over 150 nations had joined, and the total investment surpassed $1 trillion. Trains now leave Chongqing, cross Kazakhstan, Russia, Poland, and Germany, and reach Western Europe in less than 15 days, a journey that once took months. But this time, it's not silk or spices being traded. It's electronics, energy, data, and digital infrastructure. From undersea fiber optic cables to smart ports in Africa, everything is part of that same old dream, connecting the world. Still, not everyone sees it the same way. Some countries worry about the heavy debts that come with Chinese loans. Critics call it debt diplomacy, suggesting China is expanding its influence through infrastructure. Supporters argue it's a path to balance, a chance for developing nations to finally join the global stage. But one thing is certain. Today, almost everything we use has traces of the Silk Road in it. The phone in your hand might be assembled in China, with chips from Taiwan and packaging from Malaysia, shipped across oceans and railways that mirror those ancient routes. In a sense, the Silk Road never vanished, and it just went digital. Every time you shop online or watch a video from the other side of the world, you're traveling that same invisible path. Yet global connection comes with its own price. Economic dependence, political rivalry, and even cyber threats are the new deserts and bandits of our time. Still, just as the old Silk Road once sparked art, science, and understanding, maybe this digital one can bring us closer again. When we look at the map today and trace that familiar line from China to Europe, from the Great Wall to Venice across deserts and seas, it feels alive again. You can almost hear the echoes of caravans that never truly disappeared, just transformed into streams of data. Maybe the Silk Road is really the story of us. Humans trying to connect, to trade, to understand one another. No other road in history has shaped humanity so deeply. And now, in a world changing faster than ever, we face a new question. Will the Silk Road of the future become a bridge for peace and cooperation? Or another path for rivalry and control? No one knows yet. But one thing's for sure, our journey isn't over. We're still traveling along the same road that began with a single thread of silk.